Good afternoon and welcome to the gold mining city of Kalgoorlie Boulder, located in the very aptly and appropriately named Goldfields region of West Australia. We've had a really good little weekend here in Kalgoorlie, which is about 650 kilometres east of Perth. We caught the Prospector up on Saturday morning, which is a really interesting and fairly fast train for Australian standards, so that train review will be coming out shortly if it isn't already. But yeah, this evening we're going to be flying back on QantasLink on their Airbus A320 aircraft, which are formerly Jetstar aircraft. QantasLink operating A320s is a very West Australia thing. They really just operate them in West Australia. Virgin Australia also operate A320s in West Australia. So yeah, without further ado, it's a very busy afternoon here at the Kalgoorlie Boulder Airport. The Diggers and Dealers Mining Conference, which is the biggest international mining conference in Australia, kicks off tomorrow. So yeah, there was about 7 to 8 flights from Perth to Kalgoorlie today, and there was even a special flight that came in from Sydney as well. So yeah, I was wondering why there was such a spike in flights today. So expecting it could be quite an empty flight coming back, with all the flights obviously being full coming in. So yeah, it's going to be a very busy afternoon here at Kalgoorlie Airport. So without further ado, let's head into the terminal now, get checked in and see how our Kalgoorlie QantasLink experience goes. For your information, as we head into the Kalgoorlie Boulder Airport terminal this afternoon, Kalgoorlie Airport is currently the 5th busiest airport in the whole of West Australia, or according to the latest statistics, which are from a little while back now, the 30th busiest in the whole of Australia. It serves around 300,000 yearly passenger movements, which might not sound a lot, but for a city with a population of just 30,000 people, that's basically 10 times the population of the town. So yeah, we're very busy a gold mining sector here in Kalgoorlie. It's really not surprising why. With Kalgoorlie being around 600 kilometres east of Perth, you'll find currently the only regular passenger airline movements out of Kalgoorlie Airport are to and from Perth Airport. Qantas are the predominant operator on the route, mainly QantasLink to be precise. They operate a range of different aircraft type on the route. Usually it's a Fokker 100 sort of on the quieter days, and then they usually operate Airbus A320 ex-Jetstar aircraft on the busier days such as today. They also do occasionally deploy Boeing 737, and in times gone by, Boeing 717 aircraft were more apparent as well, but they still make an appearance. On the other side, Virgin Australia or Virgin Australia Regional Airlines also operate on the link. Mainly, again, Airbus A320 aircraft, but occasionally they do deploy Fokker 100s or Airbus A320s on the route. And you also got Alliance Airlines. They operate a much less frequent service, just once a week. We have Fokker 100 aircraft. So yeah, plenty of competition on this route. As far as I'm aware, it's a truly free market route. It's not a government subsidised sort of route, as you'll find to many smaller regional destinations in WA. So yeah, no turboprop flights in and out of Kalgoorlie. Interestingly enough, Kalgoorlie Airport has had interstate flights back in the day. For those who are familiar with West Australia Aviation, the long defunct SkyWest Airlines used to actually operate a service over to Melbourne direct out of Kalgoorlie. That was around 2007 to 2008, I think. Then through various times when SkyWest was taken over by Virgin Australia Regional Airlines, they on and off continued the route right through to 2020 when it was axed during the pandemic. But Qantas also operated a twice weekly service to Adelaide. That was just prior to 2014 as well. So there has been definitely interstate flights in and out of this terminal. So yeah, the infrastructure is definitely there for interstate flights. I think it really just comes down to the economic situation at the time, probably a lot to do with the resources sector and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's very cool to know that there is definitely the potential to fly interstate straight out of Kalgoorlie. So yeah, just a little bit of information as we are about to head into the Kalgoorlie Airport terminal today. Today's journey is going to take just under 1 hour. It's 538 kilometres as crow flies. If you were to drive, it's around 600 kilometres. If you were to get the train like we did yesterday morning, it's about 653. So yeah, it should be about a 55-minute journey today on the Airbus A320 operated by QantasLink. So yeah, tonight's flight is going to be a twilight flight. We're scheduled to leave Kalgoorlie at 5 p.m. So with the sunset being around 5:20 in Kalgoorlie at this time of year and slightly later going backwards towards Perth, yeah, we'll be chasing the sun all the way out west as we travel across the goldfields and the wheat belt. So it should be a really amazing flight. Let's head into the Kalgoorlie Boulder terminal now. It's quite a modern yet compact terminal here. Check-in and bag drop at Kalgoorlie Boulder Airport is very much done the old-fashioned way for both Qantas and Virgin Australian customers. There's no kiosk or self-serve bag drop here, but there really isn't needed to be one in my opinion. So yeah, upon entering, you'll find there's a very small check-in hall on the left-hand side of the terminal. You can obviously check in online and proceed straight to the gate if you don't have any checked luggage, although there is several man counters where you can drop off your bag or still check in if need be. There was a few people at the queue, but it was very, very efficiently handled. My bag's dropped and ready to go in only a few minutes. And yeah, there's certainly real no need to get to this airport early, although as I did, I went out a bit earlier to do a bit of plane spotting, as you've already seen. But yeah, as you'll soon see, it's definitely a rather compact, although it's a pretty functional airport here at Kalgoorlie. There is a small Qantas regional lounge for eligible passengers. There's also a small cafe and bar before security, which also nicely had the footy on a pretty big telly, so that was much appreciated. There's also several car hire counters as well. And yeah, to get out on a jet service out of Kalgoorlie, so your Qantas or your Virgin Australia, or I dare say Alliance, there is a small departure waiting area as well, so you do have to go through security screening here, although yeah, you only really need to go through just before boarding commences. So yeah, with plenty of time to spare, one of the beauties of this regional airport here at Kalgoorlie on this beautiful sunny winter 25-degree winter afternoon is that you can go back out of the terminal and walk about 50 metres past the terminal and you can get magnificent views of the tarmac and the planes going in and out. So let's do exactly that and try and get some glimpses of our incoming QantasLink flight from Perth this afternoon, which should be a full flight full of mining stakeholders and executives for the Diggers and Dealers Forum, which starts tomorrow. And yeah, we'll do the aircraft information right from outside at the fence. So as you can see, here's our aircraft arriving from Perth this afternoon. It is indeed a QantasLink Airbus A320-200 series. Victor Hotel Uniform Victor Oscar. It's 18.2 years old. Has rather lengthy history, to be honest. Looks like it was first ordered by Jetstar Asia around 2005, although this order wasn't taken up. Somehow it got in the hands of Atlas Jet in June 2005, who then leased it out to Saudi Arabian Airlines. Then it came over to Jetstar Airways in 2007. Then it was taken over by Jetstar Asia in February 2010. Before then coming over to Network Aviation and of course QantasLink in October 2020, where it's been operated by Network Aviation for QantasLink since then. So yeah, very lengthy history sheet on this aircraft, but yeah, it's coming in now. That was a really beautiful landing. Kalgoorlie Airport is one of my all-time favourite airports. Anyway, with my plane right there, I know exactly what I need to do now. I need to head back into the terminal now. It's running about half an hour late, this plane. It's going to be a full flight coming in for diggers and dealers, but I'm very much anticipating it's going to be a very empty flight coming back. So that means the turnaround on the ground should be very, very quick today. So yeah, better head into the terminal now, quickly go through security, and then yeah, let's board this flight back to Perth tonight. Should be a good one. So yeah, as you can see, things are pretty chilled here at Kalgoorlie. Quite a few people have just got off the flight from Perth, but yeah, not too many are going back. So yeah, there's a few little shops here and also a cafe and a bar. So yeah, you can enjoy a drink before your flight. But yeah, we've got to go through security now. Once through security, it was very, very efficient today. It only took a minute or two. There's a small departures lounge once you get to the other side, which still has great views of the plane we're about to get on today. So now that we're gone from fence side to air side in literally only a few minutes, you can see how empty today's flight's going to be. There's probably only 20 people or so in the departures lounge, but nonetheless, boarding is called probably around 15 minutes behind schedule, just after 5 p.m. But with such a small pax load on today's flight, I'm very, very confident we'll get this plane turned around in no time, and I'm sure we'll make up the time in the air. But yeah, here's our QantasLink A320 Airbus aircraft that we've just boarded across a short walk on the tarmac. As you can see, it's your very much stock standard Airbus A320. You can tell straight away it's come from Jetstar with the black leather livery. It's your very much stock standard 180 seat configuration in all economy free layout. If you are after a bit of extra legroom, you'll find extra legroom seats in rows 12 and 13. These can be reserved for $15 in advance for this flight. Otherwise, your platinum frequent flyer members, they come complimentary. Otherwise, you might be able to take your chance on the day of flying. You might get one at check-in free of charge. As always, for all Qantas frequent flyer customers on Qantas operator flights, you do get complimentary standard seat selections. So that's very, very handy in case you have a preference to an aisle or a window seat. Being an ex-Jetstar aircraft, it's no surprise that legroom is incredibly tight, very, very average for Qantas standards. It's not the end of the world with such short flights in WA, but yeah, you will have a legroom of only 28 to 30 inch seat pitch, and you only get 3-inch seat recline and 18-inch seat width, which is notably less than Qantas's 737-800 aircraft, which themselves are not overly spacious in my opinion. But yeah, the seats themselves are actually pretty comfortable. Obviously they're black leather livery. It's just that legroom that's quite tight. Might be bothersome for some on some of the longer intrastate WA flights. But yeah, with this flight from Kalgoorlie being less than an hour and a very empty, I literally had a whole third of the aircraft to myself, so room wasn't really an issue. It was almost like going back to the days of the height of the pandemic when the planes were absolutely empty. Remember flying Virgin Australia from Perth to Darwin on an empty plane once. So yeah, remind me like that time. Very unusual to see empty planes these days. Now that we very uniquely push forward and away as to Pushback out of Kalgoorlie Airport, what better time now to just sit back, relax and enjoy our stunning sunset takeoff out of the Goldfields region here in Kalgoorlie, West Australia. And once in the air, I'll then start to offer my thoughts on today's full service short hop back over to Perth. Now that we're firmly in the air, chasing the sunset out west over to Perth over the beautiful goldfields, what better time now just to have a quick assessment of the in-flight entertainment offering, or that lack thereof, on today's flight. So yeah, QantasLink are supposedly supposed to be rolling out their fairly solid stream-to-your-own-device entertainment system across all its QantasLink jet aircraft, including the A320, although there was no mention of it being available on today's very short flight, but I don't think it would really honestly be that necessary anyway for such a short flight. There is, however, in-flight magazine, which may just provide some light reading to tie you over for this short flight back to Perth. Otherwise, the main entertainment definitely is the views out the window tonight on over the goldfields. Anyway, as I have a quick look-see through the Qantas in-flight magazine, it actually has a few decent reads in it, so well worth checking out. I just can't believe how empty today's flight is. Probably only around 20 or so people on the whole flight. So yeah, despite being at the back of the plane, the in-flight service comes around really quickly, and it was really good on today's flight. So obviously the crew were very friendly, they were very efficient for such a short flight. We offered a reasonably decent snack platter. Consists of corn chips, pretzel and a salsa dip, and this was accompanied by your choice of soft drink, beer or wine. So I got a beer to match it. Being such an empty flight, the crew even came around offering both seconds of the snack and the alcoholic drink. So basically got 2 beers and 2 snacks on a flight which barely spent a few minutes at cruising altitude. So can't complain about that. Absolutely full marks to the QantasLink crew here. Very enjoyable quick little flight today. So yeah, aside from that, there's not a huge amount more to report about this flight other than a really good in-flight service and crew today. Really appreciated the QantasLink hospitality. Wasn't really much entertainment, and obviously the seat pitch was pretty narrow to be expected. But yeah, I just thought I'd add today's flight I redeemed with Qantas Frequent Flyer points, relieved my balance of 8,000 points, and a fairly steep $68 in tax, being a regional sort of flight. But yeah, cash prices are often over $300 with QantasLink, so yeah, can definitely be a good one to redeem points with to save a bit of money. But yeah, apart from that, what better time now just to sit back, relax, enjoy those last few views out the window, and then yeah, soon we'll be descending into Perth as the sun goes down. So yeah, what better time now to just sit back, relax and enjoy what should be a stunning landing into Perth this early Sunday evening. So despite the late incoming arrival from Perth at Kalgoorlie today, we pretty much make up almost all of the time in the air today, arriving only a couple minutes late, just after 6 p.m. local time. Qantas here at Perth Airport operate out of Terminal 3 and 4, which the Qantas Group now has exclusive use of, including for Qantas's international flights. We parked up at a remote Terminal 3 bay, so it required disembarking via the stairs and a short walk along an undercover walkway to get into the fairly quiet Sunday evening Perth Airport Terminal 3. But yeah, before I get to my final Aussie Jet Setter score index for this flight, let me just sum up by offering a few final thoughts. I thought this was an absolutely amazing flight today and a really great way to cap off a really great short stay weekend in Kalgoorlie. It was a really productive weekend. Got to take the Prospector train over to Kalgoorlie yesterday morning, something I really wanted to do for quite some time now, but just haven't got around to it. So yeah, be sure to check out that review also on my channel, or coming soon if it's not already out. Also got to do a Kalgoorlie Boulder walking tour as well, so don't forget to check that one out on the channel. But yeah, just going back to the flight itself, obviously it's probably not a completely real world picture of what this flight would be like, you know, in everyday terms, because it was so empty. So yeah, when it's a full flight with 180 people, it may very well be a slightly different experience. But yeah, from the experience I had today with only 20 or 30 people on, it was an absolutely amazing flight with great service, really friendly crew, and getting seconds of both snacks and drinks was really great. And yeah, being able to redeem it with Qantas frequent flyer points, 8,000 points, really saved me some money as well, because it is quite an expensive flight. So that was a real bonus. I guess just putting things into perspective just that little bit, considering I have had such a great flight with QantasLink today, it is important to still remember, as I alluded to before, the QantasLink Airbus A320 aircraft are ex-Jetstar aircraft. That very much makes them quite arguably the most inferior aircraft in Qantas's fleet, if you consider its lack of business class and its tight economy class seating, which is originally purposed for budget carrier Jetstar. So yeah, I'm just putting that into perspective. If you were stuck on a flight full of 180 very tired miners coming off, you know, a month of 12-hour day and night shifts on the mines on a 2.5-hour flight up north in the Pilbara, it could be quite a cramped and uncomfortable experience. And I guess at the end of the day, it all comes down to cost. You know, when I used to take these Jetstar and Tiger Airways A320 flights, you know, 5-10 years ago, the red-eye flights from Perth over east, and they often only cost me $100. Couldn't really complain for the bargain basement price I paid. But when Qantas's skyrocketing airfares, which they basically charge a roof for flights up into the Pilbara, taking advantage of the strong demand of the mining sector, but when you often pay sometimes well over $500 or even up to $1,000 for an interstate flight to a mining destination in West Australia, you could feel flying on an ex-Jetstar aircraft is a bit of a rip-off. But yeah, for today's particular experience, it was hard to complain. It was a really top-notch experience. And without further ado, let's now go to our final Aussie Jet Setter AJ score index for this flight. So first things first, let's have a look at ground handling for this flight. And it's saying I do very rarely, but I give this an absolutely flawless score of 20 out of 20. Everything about the ground handling experience and check-in, baggage handling, and all the booking management, all that sort of stuff was absolutely flawless. Whether it was getting to Kalgoorlie a ridiculously and outrageously early 2.5 hours before my flight, and they still checked my bag, that was really amazing. Obviously I had other things to do, like a plane spotting complication and that sort of stuff, so that's why I got to the airport so early. But yeah, it was amazing they took my small bag so early, and yeah, the check-in was really efficient, and yeah, the security crew at Kalgoorlie Airport were really friendly, and yeah, everyone I came across the Kalgoorlie Airport was really nice. So that was amazing. Even got to see plane spot my own plane, so that was really good. And then yeah, when I arrived in Perth, the baggage was already there when I got there, and yeah, they did an amazing job to turn around the plane in almost record time. And despite arriving half an hour late into Kalgoorlie, we pretty well arrived back into Perth on time, so that was absolutely amazing. Next up, we got crew and in-flight service. Another strong mark of 18 out of 20, so absolutely amazing performance by the Qantas crew on today's short QantasLink flight. Really appreciate their friendly service and their quick and efficient service today. Even got seconds, both drinks and a snack, and that was voluntarily offered up by the crew, so that was really great initiative. Entertainment, I give it a fairly average 10 out of 20 for this flight. I wasn't really expecting it, although I wasn't really sure if QantasLink have or have not rolled out their stream to your own device entertainment yet for Airbus A320s in the QantasLink fleet. I believe they're certainly in the process of, but there's certainly no mention on today's flight. There was certainly no in-flight Wi-Fi either. Certainly not a deal breaker. You do still have the in-flight magazine, but yeah, just a 10 out of 20 for today on entertainment. Next up, we got value for money. I give it a respectable 14 out of 20. I think considering I booked it last minute for 8,000 Qantas points plus $68 tax, it wasn't too bad value. Though I do think the tax for this flight is quite steep for only a 1 hour flight. Obviously being a regional flight, I guess is why. That being said, if you were paying cash for the route, Qantas rarely charge under $300 these days for this flight. So really expensive for just a 1 hour flight. And you'd be surprised, the flights coming up were $825 for the mining diggers and dealers for them. So they're absolutely committing daylight robbery here. Qantas are taking advantage of the demand, but even still a regular sort of cost of $325 for this empty flight coming back seemed very steep in my opinion. So yeah, 14 out of 20. But yeah, if I was just paying cash, it would be a lot less. Next up, we got seat and cabin. Obviously, it was a very empty flight today, so that very much probably exaggerated my level of comfort on today's flight. So yeah, overall, it is a pretty old aircraft at 18 years of age, but seemed to be fairly well maintained. The seating itself, the black leather seating is pretty comfortable, but yeah, it is pretty tight, the seat pitch. So overall, I give it 15 out of 20. Pretty adequate overall for such a short flight. So considering all those considerations, time to give my total AJ Aussie Jet Setter score for this flight, and it comes in at a very respectable, strong performing 77 out of 100. So great flight with QantasLink today, really hard to fault much about it at all. Obviously it probably was a little bit of an unusual flight, flying back almost empty from Kalgoorlie. So yeah, it might not be fully representative of your typical QantasLink experience from Kalgoorlie, but yeah, from my experience, it was really good today. Now that we make our way to the baggage reclaim on a very quiet Sunday evening here at Terminal 3 and 4 Perth Airport. So quiet indeed, literally the conveyor belt ran for 5 seconds before stopping with the few bags for today's flight. Really like to thank you for watching today's flight review from Kalgoorlie to Perth. It's just been a short one today, even if the video still has been quite lengthy. Sometimes these are the flights I actually really enjoy, just quick flights, easy flights, hassle-free flights. Really enjoyed my experience today. So yeah, if you have enjoyed the video, really appreciate it. Give it a like, hit that subscribe and bell button so you won't miss another one. plenty more flight reviews coming up on the channel, as I'm now in Sri Lanka and spending a few weeks there, and I'll also be traveling around Asia. So got a real blitz of Asian flight reviews coming up in the coming months. So that will be really amazing. In the more near future, I've also got my prospector train review that should be out now as well, so don't forget to check out that one. But yeah, in the meantime, you can also visit my website aussiejetsitter.com.au for latest flight reviews, industry news, destination, frequent flyer hacks and more. Don't forget to check out my Instagram account as well for more short form sort of content in real time, and I've also got a dedicated Discord server for fans and community of the channel to participate. But yeah, until the next one, thank you very much for watching today, and safe travels wherever that might take you.